want to give you 3 nuggets that will help you as much, and hopefully as much as it's helped me, and as it continues to help me. These are things that I reflect on since I've lost my corporate role and my corporate job a couple years ago, and have since branched out on my own. But yet, I still have to remind myself of these 3 things. So let's dive right in. So, one thing I had to realize is that my job was not my identity, it was just something that I did. And it's hard to separate that sometimes because when your career and your job becomes the center stage of your life, then it blurs the lines between who you are and what you do. So I had to realize that, okay, that's not who I am because, you get into the habit of work and doing a job and trying to get to the next stage and build your bag, make more money, get that promotion that you forget sometimes who you are, sometimes what your passion is, because you are busy being maybe not you, but you alter who you are for someone else, for the job, and for the sake of continuing to keep that job and stay in that role, if not get promoted. My job has nothing to do solely with my core values, and so I had to do is reflect on my core values, my Christian values. That's nothing that is going to be written in the mission statement of a job. Okay. I think about my personal relationships, time with my family, my friends, my community, my church. That's something that no corporate job can hire or fire, or any job can hire or fire. My passions and my hobbies, such as spending time with my kids. I absolutely love to play volleyball. I love sports. I love playing my phone games. Yes, I admitted it. I love playing phone games. But you know what? That's something that feeds my soul, not production. I would get home from work and I think about, oh my gosh, are we going to meet the production? How can I get my team to pick it up, or how can we exceed what we did last month, last quarter? So my mind was constantly at work. Now I have the time to really enjoy those personal relations and not have to worry about meeting some kind of production. And then my other thing is my inherent worth. Whatever I was born with, whatever I acquired over the years through experience, nothing can replace that. There is absolutely no salary, no promotion, no LinkedIn job title that can match my inherent worth of who I am. So my identity is my identity. It's authentically me, and my job cannot identify me. That is not who I am. Number 2, don't compare yourself to others and where they are. Again, that was something that I did. Sometimes it's hard not to. When you lose your job and you're like, "Oh my gosh, I've been knocked off this path. What am I going to do?" They're still going. Good for them, but I wish I was there. That's a dangerous place to be in. And don't get me wrong, it's okay to admire someone else's achievement and look at where they are for your inspiration, but let it be just for inspiration and not as a stick to beat yourself up with, because that's what could happen. And again, that's a dangerous place to be. You are authentically you. Your carbon footprints are just yours. And I had to realize that I would never ever be able to compare myself with others and vice versa. They can't compare themselves with me. So a little background about me. I grew up in the South, a Southern baby girl, and I am the baby of 6 children. And I grew up as the baby of 6 children. And I have also uh, didn't graduate college. Let me back up and say I didn't graduate college. I have no college degree, so I can't compare myself to those who are. I also I had traumatic experience, a very abusive marriage. And that was trauma. It was horrific. So how dare me compare myself to others? I have to look at where I've come and how far I've come and be grateful for that. I have a lot that I've achieved personally, and maybe, hey, you may be that inspiration for someone else. So don't stop now. Continue to inspire. Inspire yourself first, and then that way others can be inspired. You can make it through this moment. You can make it through this time. Yes, it's emotional. Yes, it's stressful. Yes, it feels like maybe you failed. Um, if not, you don't feel like you failed yourself. You may feel like you failed others. But take this as a stepping stone. In one of my videos, I talk about how I was focused on climbing the corporate ladder. And that's because that's what was embedded in me. And that's what I felt I had to do. But nothing could have been further from the truth. Because, first of all, that was one ladder. And yes, the further you climb, the harder you fall, right? And now I have since created, I am in the process of creating, but multiple streams of incomes, what I call step stools. And my one step stool is I am a thrifter and a reseller. I absolutely love it. Hit me up if you have questions. I would love to help you if that's an avenue you're thinking about taking or pursuing, even as a side income. It is amazing. The other thing, too, is I am a lice technician. Yes, I said lice technician. Now, years ago, had you told me that's what I would be doing, I would have laughed in both our faces like, okay, girl, stop yourself. And girl, stop yourself, because that is nothing I ever had interest in doing. But when you have time to daydream and think for yourself, I look beyond it being, before I even went for this whole gig, I was like, this is more than just relieving someone's stress and life at the same time. It's making a connection, yet another connection. And I tell you, when I go and visit these homes, because what I do is I go to their home and I provide lice removal service. But what I realize is more than just about removing lice, because they start sharing their stories. And 99% of the time, they are stressed. While they're talking about and complaining about the lice, they're also complaining about work stress and this 9 to 5 that has their mind twirling, and how how they had to even figure out how to get out of going to work that day just so they can stay home and get their heads treated. All too familiar to me. And I'm not bashing a 9 to 5. I've done it. I have done it. And I'm grateful for those opportunities. But I'm also just as grateful for a different opportunity, a different path that I may not have taken had it not been knocked from under me. So when I hear their stories, I can so very much identify. But I'm also so glad and privileged to be their listening ear and their sounding board. And it's more than just a life treatment to me. That's something that I would have never realized had, again, that one income ladder had not been knocked from under me. This YouTube channel is another avenue where I get to express myself and share my journey and be creative and help others and hopefully inspire those like you who stop here. And I appreciate it. And I hope that you're finding some value and that you'll press that like button and subscribe and share, comment. I'd love to hear what you're going through. Now, my third point that I want to share is another nugget for me that I had to realize that um, our lives aren't meant to be designed to follow certain stages. Our lives are not meant to be designed to follow certain stages. I grew up thinking that there was a certain pattern and that I needed to be here and here and here at certain stages and levels of in my life. So yes, you go to school, you get a good education, and of course, make sure you graduate. And once you graduate, maybe you should go on to college and get that degree. And once you do that, go ahead and get that dream job and start trying to climb up the ladder. And by the way, go ahead and find you a good man. And when you find you a good man, we need to have a baby by a certain time. And then also go ahead and have that baby, or two or three or four or five, while still trying to work and climb that ladder in whatever role you're in. And I tell you, you do all that, by the way, until you can retire at the right old age of 72. If you want all your stuff, maybe 75. Okay, that's exhausting. And it's also doesn't have to be, it also doesn't have to be your life. It doesn't have to be what you follow, because guess what? When you're designing your life and you got all your cute tools and you're trying to figure it out here and figure it out there, and you're coloring that space with, or promotion here, or I'm going to do this there, you're not the only ones who I'm the one who holds tools to your design. You have your friends, you have your family, you have social media, you have strangers you don't even know, you have your job, you have that boss, you that job and that boss by itself, just like me, as it applies to me. They took their tool and they did this with me. I was no longer in their picture, so it messed up that stage in my life. So I thought. So again, I had to remind myself, girl, that's not where you belong today. So let's move on and realize that it really is a blessing in disguise. Sometimes the slate has to be wiped clean for us to see anything. It had to for me twice. The first time I didn't listen. I, I did take a year off after I was displaced from my first corporate job. I took a year off and I thought long and hard, but I went back into the corporate world and I accelerated faster, but I also lost so much valuable time with my family, with my kids. I am an older parent. My husband and I are what we call sunset parents. Yeah. We're older, but I'm still raising a high schooler and I'm raising a middle schooler. She just graduated to middle school from elementary. So yeah, I needed to be there for them. And this allows me to be there for them. So no, I'm not worried. And hopefully neither are you. Just embrace where we are and let it just propel you to what your next steps are. Now is your chance to dream. How big that dream is, how far, how wide, it's all up to you. I'm still dreaming. I don't plan to go back. Now, God may have other plans somehow, but every time I would open up my laptop to even think about applying for another role, it's like he slams it down. Now that's just my story. I don't know about you. That's up to you to determine, but I will leave you with this. And it's a beautiful proverb that I may not get word for word, but you will get the gist of what it is. So, when a bird sits on a branch, it doesn't worry about if the branch is going to break because its trust is not in the branch, but it's in its wings. Use your wings, use this time wisely, and go fly wherever they take you, but enjoy the journey. I sure am. And again, if there's anything in this message that encouraged even one of you, I am grateful for that. I am rooting for you. I'm rooting for us. We have so much that we have to offer. And it doesn't have to be in that one little 9 to 5. It's comfortable, but it's costly. Until next time.